just before we take a break, and by the way, these guys are around for the whole hour. We're doing that for a little while. We're going old school for the next few days. Sam, the politics of housing. Now, again, let's not get too bogged down. Full declaration. Your missus, of course, the wonderful housing minister in New South Wales. We love Rose very much. But can we bring those maps back up? Because the demographic shifts that are happening in Australia, everyone focuses on the Liberal Party, women 35 to 54 who've run away from the Liberal Party. They could never get 76 seats again. Well, if the Greens are able to move the renters of Australia to becoming their main economic constituents or lifestyle constituent, then Labor's not going to get near 76 as well. Again, this map here is the ones in and around Sydney, where there are more renters of those three blots of people who've paid off their house, paying off the house or renting than the other two. Also in Melbourne, you can see, again, pretty similar picture. There's hundreds of thousands of people in these regions, let alone the third, which of course is Brisbane. How far off the mark am I?
Look, not that far. The interesting thing, though, is the Greens are trying to have a bet on both the renters, obviously, but also on the people that own their homes outright. The incredibly wealthy individuals. Go for a walk around some of the suburbs in Griffith, and these are beautiful homes.
Yeah,
these are multi-million-dollar homes. These are the people that he gets points for opposing social development in his own backyard. And what you saw today was, I'm sorry, utterly disgusting. So this housing fund, to be clear, this housing fund is 3,000 new homes every single year, social housing homes. The sort of homes that people... You had a rant about this last week.
I support this. I support it. I don't like giving him a tick, but I actually back this in.
Right, and to push this off, so... You know, the Greens have come out and said, until Labor comes to the party with a rent freeze, we can't possibly support this.
Which is why Dutton should have done what Albanese did for the last 3 years, negotiate, vote for it, fingers crossed. If it works, yay. If it doesn't work, then
sure,
you lit it on fire.
But he didn't.
Steve, again, the politics of things. You saw how central Melbourne, once it changed from Lindsay Tanner and Labor and went green, it never went back. You've seen in Brisbane, and there's a real surge in this stuff in Brisbane. A lot of the demographics as people move from Victoria and New South Wales, they moved into the southeast, they rented in the southeast, and lo and behold, the Greens got one vote more than Labor. Preferences push them up. You get a whole bunch of new MPs. I think it's a big demographic shift that's coming, and I just don't think there's enough attention on it, and we'll all sit there and be surprised in 2.5 years' time.
You mentioned the seat of Higgins. I don't know who could afford to rent a house in Higgins, for goodness sake. The rents would be through the roof there. But one of the things about this housing policy, as far as I understand it, the number of houses that are going to be built, these social welfare housing, are the same number in Tasmania as they're going to build in New South Wales and in Victoria. We've got all of the migrant boost in immigration coming to Australia. Where do we think most of the migrants are going to go? They're not going to Tasmania because there's no jobs there. They're going to come to Sydney and Melbourne. And we're building the same number of houses? Well, what's that about? Apart from winning seats in Tasmania, perhaps?